Today, you will be witnessing me fulfilling my childhood dream of becoming the Queen of the Night. I had a major obsession with Mozart's magic flute when I was a child, especially with the Queen of the Night and her aria. And when I moved to Venice and the time came for Venice Carnival, and I saw really amazing fabric on Etsy, I decided my time had come, and I got myself a dress form and I started drafting the pattern. There's no reason she still has the plastic covering on, except that there's no reason. I am not a professional. I just learned how to do this on YouTube. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, but for me it worked out, and I ended up with the centerpiece that you can see now that has to be then cut out on the fold, a side piece and a back piece which need to be cut out twice. You can't really see it, but I think this is okay. It's a bit, I know, this side is a bit wonky, but that's okay. I'm gonna put boning here, and I have to make it a bit longer because my waist is a bit lower than that of my dress form. But otherwise, I think I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna open this up, transfer it onto pattern paper, make it a bit tighter in the back, and oops, I think it's okay. Maybe if I put it on, I will see mistakes, but I wouldn't know what to change now, so that's what I'm gonna do. After transferring the pieces to my pattern paper so I could use them forever, I put them onto my lining fabric, which is this dark blue light cotton that is very soft. I stitched them. I didn't stitch them. I pinned them on and cut them out, and I made sure that the center was on the folded part. So if you fold it open, you have the full center part, and the other two were also on a folded part but not on the fold, so that if you cut them open, make them open, you have two of each, because you need two, because you are a two-sided human being. I hope you understand. For my other fabrics, I chose this dark blue satin for €9 a meter, and this beautiful stitched tulle that I got off of Etsy. I can link it below, and it's the reason I made this dress, because I just think it's the most beautiful thing ever. I think I got 4 meters. I'll check later. I repeated the same process for the bodice on the satin fabric, making sure that the center front is on the fold, and also extending the waistline a bit even more, because I was really afraid that it was not going to fit me. I had waistline scaredom issues. Is scaredom a word? These are the parts I ended up with, and of course the side parts are doubled because I put them on the fold. So the lining is finished. I'm now going to make the exact same thing out of my silk satin fabric, out of my just satin. It's not silk. I wish it were silk. The amount of times I said silk instead of satin is embarrassing. I changed the needle to like a finer needle that is more suitable for satin, and started working on the outer layer of the bodice. You can see here it started to do a lot of wrinkling around the seam. I wasn't sure why this was, if I was not, maybe I wasn't using the right needle, maybe maybe I pulled it wrong while I sewed, but you can see here that it looks a bit weird, and some looked a lot worse than others. Here you see, this looks really bad. I was able to fix it with some ironing, and I also had to iron the lining fabric, and I thought this looked really aesthetic. I thought it looked like a Baroque painting. Look at this master shot. She's a queen of ironing with her miniature iron. But yeah, look, it looked a lot better afterwards. It didn't go away completely, but it looked better, and I kind of figured that when I put the boning and everything in, it would look off like okay, and it did. So, yay. So now the next step is to sew the two layers together, right sides facing each other along the upper edge, and leaving out the bottom because that's where the skirt is going to go, and the sides because that's where the invisible zipper is going to go. The important thing is to line them up exactly at the seams so it just looks nice and clean when you then later turn it inside out or right sides out. Those were words of wisdom. It is very satisfying if seams line up, even if you don't see it from the outside. If you put it on and the seams line up, it's just nice. It just feels good. Okay, it's a few days later and I am ready mentally to put in the boning. I'm going to put one along two, like one here, and here at the edge. I've already tried it once at here at the side seam. It took me forever. I tried to stitch exactly into this and it looks good from the outside, but the inside is a bit, if you see it here, it's a bit wonky, but it's fine because nobody will see that. So yeah, put one at this seam and at this seam, and then I'll see what it looks like, and maybe I'll put two parallel ones right down the middle. We shall see. I always think the part where you put, look at my nails, why did they look so good? They look like I went to a manicure. I think putting boning in is really satisfying, and it really like puts your dress to like a next level dress. Someone like before that, you look at it and you're like, oh yeah, okay, I guess it's a bodice. And if you put boning in, you're like, ooh, is she a professional? Because it just looks so good. Like it makes it look so much more intense immediately. Right? Also, if there's a big difference in the me in the video voice and this voice that's speaking right now, it's because I caught a certain something and this is my voice now. Here, look how satisfying it is to put the boning in. Doesn't it like change it immediately? It look rude. It just looks so much better with the boning in. Ah! Okay, sorry, I swear I never get this many messages. Anyway, that's the bodice done. I've spent the last hours trying to figure out what kind of skirt to make because the fabric is so light, and also I have no idea how to do it. So like what to do, I don't know what to do. Should I make a normal circle skirt, like a full circle skirt? Should I do a circle skirt but with a gathered waist? Should I just pleat it? Should I put darts in? I don't know. I've never done any of those things. I've been trying to watch some videos of other people doing like a, where I like the look of the skirt, and they use like really heavy fabric and pleat it, but mine is really light. Also, I thought about getting an underskirt, But I don't want to spend money on an underskirt that I'm only going to use for one single dress. But then again, it's a costume and maybe it needs an underskirt. And I'm sure one day I will make another dress where I need an underskirt. I am going to make I'm going to make a normal circle skirt, like a full circle skirt with no gathers, just my waist measurements, bloop, bloop. Help. Wow, okay, that was really painful. I'm sorry. I didn't have a measuring tape, so this is how I'm measuring my waist. I think it worked, so whatever. Um, Here I am, spreading out the rest of my satin and doing the circle skirt. So I cut out my waist circumference and then calculated the length I wanted. I obviously wanted a floor length skirt. So I calculated it from there and measured it, and here I am cutting it. I cut 3 pieces overall. The first is like a half skirt, which I cut on the fold, and the other two are the two back sides, which are basically the other 2 quarters that are left. So I'm now going to attach the 2 back panels to this one, just along here on the side seams, and then I'll be done with the skirt, and that should be the underdress done when I put in the invisible zipper, which I'm procrastinating because I don't have an invisible zipper foot, and I have to sew it by hand, which is awesome. Ta-da! Attached the bodice to the skirt yesterday. It's still open in the back because I need to put the zipper in. And the lining isn't attached either. So I just... Oh. So I just attached it to like the silk layer to the... the satin layer to the satin layer. And I'm now going to... Oh, hello. Wait. The lining I'm now going to fold over it so there's like no raw edges, and then I'm going to attach the zipper and then close up the back, and then this should be done. It only needs to be hemmed, but I'll do that at the very end. I'm now going to sew by hand, watch a movie, have a coffee, and maybe call my grandma. Someone forgot the zipper in my hometown. The only store I know that I think sells zippers here is closed today, so there will be no dress finishing today. I don't know why the whole time I thought I had it. I didn't unpack it. I didn't put it into my sewing stuff, but for some reason I just thought I had it, so that's on me. I'm gonna vacuum now, and hopefully I'll feel better after that. This small setback was obviously a very good reason for me to stop working on this dress for a couple of days, maybe 2 weeks. But you know, that's just life, and I'm very bad at making sewing things in one go. So here I am finally making the outer dress out of the tulle. For this I made a pattern for a gathered circle skirt. So I took my waist measurement and multiplied it by 1.5 and made a circle skirt out of that with a calculator. Look at this fabric. It's so beautiful. I still am not over it, and maybe I'm gonna buy it again and make a different dress. I don't know. But yeah, I made the gathered circle skirt, and other than that, I made it gathered. I made it the exact same way, and here I am gathering the waist part with 2 parallel lines on the widest stitch length my machine has, and I then gathered all the fabric together from the waist and put it into a waistband that was fitted to my waist measurement. And I didn't hem this part of the skirt because the tulle really didn't fray, and I didn't want to, and I don't know if I even have to, so I didn't do it because why do extra work? And this is me trying to get it into the waistband. It was a bit annoying. But it looked so cool in the end, and the skirt, like just the tulle skirt, looks like something you could even wear to like a music festival, if I would ever go to a music festival again. Um, I should. I used to. Should I? Because I could wear that. Should I? It's the next day. I went to the fabric store this morning. I checked if they were open. They were. Went there. They were closed. So I still don't have a zipper. But hopefully I can go to a different store tomorrow. So for today, in the few hours I have, I want to make the top from this fabric. And to do that, I'm just going to take an old shirt and kind of use that as my pattern, making sure that I don't cut it on the straight grain, because the straight grain isn't really flexible, but if you do the diagonal, it's pretty... Is it flexible? Actually, it's... I really want to be able to kind of just, whoop, like, force it over my head without having to, like, put any openings in. I will do that now. Okay, my voice is slowly dying, but for this, I took a top that I had that's also out of like a meshy material, so I kind of used that as my pattern. When I say kind of, I mean I did. I keep saying kind of, even though I'm obviously just doing it. So I used this as my pattern for both the front and the back piece of the top. And I wasn't paying attention to like being super close to it because I knew it was stretchable, so it's okay if I like cut it a bit wonky in some places because it was going to be a bit more forgiving in theory. I also decided to challenge myself and make French seams for the whole top because I thought it would be a bit scratchy if itchy? Is it itchy or scratchy? Well, because I wanted to like, wear it on my bare skin, I thought it's better to make French seams for this. I attached the front and back of the top along the sides and along the shoulders and started working on the sleeve. This is the sleeve I wanted to use because I just wanted a very dramatic effect, and this is a very billowy sleeve if you gather it around the wrists. It's a few days later, and I've now gotten to the point where I've procrastinated this so long that I actually have some stress to get it done in time, which is great. But this is the top. I decided on I think it's called a bishop sleeve. I've done it in a few other dresses and it looks really cool. I finished the seams with French seams, which I'm very proud of. Because I thought it was going to be really itchy otherwise. It might still be itchy, but there's nothing I can do about that. So I'm going to make the second sleeve and show you how I did it. And then add the turtleneck thing here. And then the top is done. And next I have to hand sew the zipper in, which I still haven't done because I only just bought the zipper. I'm convinced the way that I sew in sleeves is not the most efficient way, but it just works best for me this way. And I always doing it by marking the middle of the sleeve and attaching both sides separately. So first I do like the front half until this middle seam and then the other half until the middle seam. And that somehow works best for me. And then I close the arm. Probably not the best way. There's probably more efficient ways, but this is the way that works for me. Just closed up the sleeve, but something went wrong with my drawing because this is where the one side stops and the other one stops like 10 centimeters below, so maybe don't copy what I did. Yeah, I forgot to mention that I forgot my pattern for the sleeve, so I just drew it myself, very proud. Even though it didn't work out the way it should, it still looked good. Nobody noticed, even I forgot about it until I just looked at this. Very important for the cuff, if you measure it to your wrist, make sure you can still get it over your hand, because otherwise it will fit your wrist, but you won't be able to get it on. Lastly, to get the big sleeve into the small cuff, it's important to gather it the way we gathered the skirt with 2 parallel lines and then kind of just fiddle it on. And this part is really annoying to sew Thank God it's only really short to sew. It's just like a few stitches, but it's so annoying with a sewing machine because it's so much material on such a small space. And the amount of times I've done this wrong is just frustrating, actually. I also completely forgot to mention that I didn't want to attach the top to the skirt, but just leave it as a two-piece set so I can reuse it for other things.